So I bet everyone here has played a video game once or twice in their life. But what you might not have thought about is the engineering that goes behind video games. And that's kind of what we're here to talk to you guys about today. What goes into making a video game? So my name is Gabby Leiferman. I'm a civil engineering major at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln on the Omaha campus.
And my name is Stephen Yagmore, and I am a third-year chemical engineering student at University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
My personal favorite video game is Super Smash Bros.
And my personal favorite video game is probably Mario Kart.
Perfect. So today we're going to talk to you guys about a couple different things. We're going to talk to you guys about conditional statements. We're going to talk to you about object-oriented programming and then engineering in video games. Stephen's going to start us off with conditional statements.
All right, so before we get into specifically how conditional statements affect a video game, I want you all to take a minute, just close your eyes and picture the following scenario. You wake up in the morning and you know that you got to get ready for school. But when you wake up, you realize that you are running behind and you are late for school. Think about everything that you have to now take into consideration. Your morning routine may look a little bit different. What's one thing you may have to do in the morning? Eat breakfast, brush your teeth. Those are all a variety of things that you'd have to do when you just wake up and get ready in the morning. But when you wake up late, there are a few changes you have to make. So, for example, let's say you wake up late and now you have to decide whether or not you're going to take a shower in the morning. It depends on a single condition, and that condition is time. So let's say it takes you about 10 minutes to take a shower. If it takes you 10 minutes, then you then have two possible scenarios that come into play here. If you wake up and you have more than 10 minutes before your bus leaves and before you have to leave, that's one scenario. And the outcome of that scenario is if you have more than 10 minutes, then you do have enough time to shower. You can take a shower because showering takes about 10 minutes and you have enough time. But if you wake up and you wake up with less than 10 minutes left before the bus leaves, then you can't take that shower right then because it's going to take too long and you're going to be late for school and you have to make the bus. This right here is a decision that you have to make that is dependent on a condition, the condition being time. Having to make a decision, it's very similar to ending up in a fork in a road. Depending on where you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish, you might decide to make a different decision. You might decide to go one way, or you might decide to go another way, depending on what's ahead. They're used so computers can make decisions. That's how a computer can make a decision. We as humans, we can make that decision almost automatically without having to think too much into it. A computer needs actual instructions to do it. So to do that, it starts with an input. It just takes one input. That input then goes to a question. The question asking, is this condition met? Let's say, for example, the condition is met, then you have one outcome, outcome one. But if that condition is not met, then you've got outcome two. How the computer decides to react is based on the outcome and based on the condition and what your answer to that condition is. So you probably recognize this if you're like me and that your favorite video game is Mario Kart. You recognize this as Toad is about to meet his untimely demise as there is a blue shell approaching him. So as you can see here, the blue shell does something very simple. It simply goes ahead to the first place winner and goes and crashes the first place winner with a blue explosion all around them. But the computer needs to make a decision. The computer has to tell whether or not Toad's going to spin out of control right then. That's dependent on if the blue shell hits Toad. So let's look at this example here. Toad is driving his car. That's the input that the computer is going to take here. The question we're going to have here is, does the blue shell hit Toad? If the blue shell does hit Toad, then the computer knows to go ahead and do a spin out explosion and make Toad spin out of control with a blue explosion. But if the answer is no, if Toad is not at that point being hit by a blue shell, he's going to go ahead and continue racing and hopefully get first. Conditional statements can easily be turned into code by using an if-else statement. If you've seen that logo before, you'll know that that is the common logo for the computer programming language Python. And so with Python, we can actually go ahead and simulate our shower example we talked about a second ago. Let's say that the time is equal to 5. We'll say it's 5 minutes. Based on what we said, you can only shower if the time is greater than 10 minutes. So you'll see the if statement here. The input is the time. The condition is time has to be greater than or equal to 10. If yes, we're going to print I can shower. If no, print I cannot shower. The computer can take this code and turn it into a conditional statement so the computer can make a decision.
All right, so next we're going to talk to you guys about object-oriented programming. So I kind of wanted a little bit of a list of some physical characteristics of Mario, but I can give them to you guys as the black mustache, his round nose, the blue overalls, and his brown shoes, as well as that signature red hat, the white gloves, the matching red shirt, and his blue eyes. And then some common actions that Mario can perform. He can run and jump and race, and he can punch. Ground punch is even better. Climb, walk, throw things. So object-oriented programming allows programmers to assign attributes and methods to objects. So those attributes are going to be physical characteristics, while methods are going to be the actions that they can perform. So those attributes are going to be those things like the red hat, the white gloves, the round nose, while those methods are going to be the actions that he can perform. So the running, the jumping, the ducking, the ground pound, all of those kind of things. So to put this in terms of a video game character, Pikachu is going to be that object. His attributes are going to be his name, his type, and his health. While the methods are going to be, again, those actions that he can perform. So attack, dodge, and evolve. So Python can be used to create code for object-oriented programming. So we're going to look at a little bit of Python again and the coding kind of behind it. So the attributes are going to be, again, the name, the type, his health, while those methods are going to be saying print attack now, or Pikachu is dodging your attack, or Pikachu is evolving. So everything in coding is kind of comes down to those attributes and those methods of certain characters that video games are going to want to control. And then lastly, we're going to talk to you guys about engineering in video games.
All right, so there are a variety of engineers, believe it or not, that are responsible for helping make the code and making the consoles that create what you guys know as video games. So first and foremost, we have ourselves the computer scientists. These are the people you're most commonly going to hear about that are the ones that are coding, but they're going to do a little bit more with your basic programming languages. There are a variety of programming languages you can see in the picture here. There's C++, there's JavaScript, there's PHP. All these programming languages are used by the computer scientists in order to create some of the very, very background code. And they're able to use these things called algorithms in order for certain processes to take place inside those computer games. So how many people have heard of Unreal Engine before? And this might be something that you ask yourself. But so Unreal Engine, believe it or not, they are the company that is responsible for producing Fortnite. And so what Unreal Engine is, even though they're not exactly a programming language, but they are a type of software that is created by software engineers. And so software engineers are able to create this type of system, this type of a program that can help people make video games more easily than just simply typing out code. So just kind of seeing how using software like Unreal Engine can help, you can see right here, long list of code right here. Imagine someone having to sit for hours and hours just staring at this code and hoping that this video game is just going to somehow make itself if you type enough lines of code. That would be really, really difficult to do. However, software engineers can help make something like what you see here, this interface here that helps make designing the game a little bit easier. You can see here, they have little drag and drop items here. You can create a car, you can create a ball right here. So instead of typing hours and hours away these lines of code, it's a lot more easier. It's a lot more easy to make these video games if you can see exactly what it's looking like in front of you.
Perfect. And then we're going to have electrical engineers that are going to help with kind of the wiring of video games. So connecting those either headsets if they're not wireless, or consoles, again, if those aren't wireless, that's kind of what electrical engineers are going to help with. And then we have computer engineers that kind of deal more with like the hardware behind like consoles or PC kind of monitors and things like that. So all around, we're having a lot of engineers that are kind of coming together and helping to build these video games that we get to play all day, every day. So overall, engineers allow us to create extraordinary things while preserving our health, happiness, and safety. Do you guys have any questions for us? No.